Let's have a quick look at how we can animate a loading bar using friction. I designed the loading bars inside of Inkscape, but you can do this inside of friction as well. So here is a set of loading bars that I've created. It's not the most diverse set, but it's good enough to start. So now I'll start up friction. I'll create a new project. I'll leave it to 1920 by 1080. I'll drop the range or duration to 160 frames, which is 7 seconds, working at 24 frames per second. For this one, I will change the background color to an off-white, so a bit of a gray, and press OK. Here we have our project. Next up, all I have to do is simply drag and drop my SVG inside of friction. And now I will ungroup this first group here with all of the bars. So Shift Control G, and we have all of our bars, loading bars. Okay, so I'll be working with this bar over here. This option is going to allow us to look at the different variations or approaches that we can take with the loading bars. So I'll simply hide all of the other bars in the meantime. So we're working with bar number 5. Okay, so I will align it to the center of the canvas and let's get started. I'll expand it. The first thing I'll do is double click on it so that we can go inside of the group. In here, we have two elements. The outer part, so the bar 5 out, which is the outline and a little fill here if you look. And then we have the inside part, which is just the complete load graphics or such, which is using a gradient fill. So while being inside of the group, I'll start by pressing Ctrl G with the fill to create a new group with it. I'll rename this to bar 5 comp. And now I'll double click on it to go inside of the group. Now I can right click on bar 5, go to action, and I'll create a link. This is simply making a copy of the bar 5, so an exact copy of it. If I disable bar 5, you can see it's still there, and vice versa. Matter of fact, let me just grab it and move it for you. You can see it's an exact copy. I'll press escape. Now, I'll change the blend mode of the link from source over to destination in. Now this is happening because we haven't yet converted it to a layer. So on the bar 5 comp, let's just click on the checkboard and convert it to a layer. Now using the destination in, this means that I'll lock the bar 5 link for now. If I grab the bar 5, press GX, and I can move it to the side, and you can see here it only shows where we have the link. This is to avoid interacting with this clear area around the fill. So if I were to disable the link, and I move or fill, you can see it simply goes over the clear area. Now, another thing, by using destination in, when I move the bar 5, you can see how it has a gradient and how we are progressively moving that gradient here. So if you don't want that to be the case, if you want to start with the dark part showing as we do the move, another method would simply be to, instead of setting the link to destination in, you can set it to source in. And now if we move the bar 5, as you can see, what is showing is not the bar 5, but instead the link, which is why it's darker here, even if it would be lighter over here. That's one way to isolate the visibility to the link object. So that way when it starts to fill, it can start from the darker area and gradually go towards the lighter area. All right, so I'll press Alt G to reset the position. So it depends on the approach that you want to take. Now, another factor is with this method here, when we move the bar, we get to keep this pointy edge. The same thing would apply for having a rounded edge. So if you wanted the bar to load with this rounded edge, this method would work great. But let's say that you want to have a sharp edge as it loads. Well, to do this, it's pretty simple, very straightforward as well. Just keep in mind, do you want it to start with the beginning of the gradient, or do you just want the gradient that's already there to be the baseline as the object moves? So that's really what's going to be the main difference of the approach that you take for this. But let's say that we want the gradient to stay as it is and we're gradually moving through the gradient itself. So to do this, let me Alt G this back into place. So for this approach, I'm going to disable the bar 5 link for now. And I'm simply going to create, you can either use a rectangle or you can create the shape or the path manually. So use a rectangle here, left click, hold, drag over this. So completely cover it. For the color, I'll make it, well, doesn't really have to be white. So I'll make it a little off-white. So gray. And now I'll call this bar 5 mask. I'll switch the blend mode to source, well, destination in. There we go. And now, when I move it to the side, our bar loads in, but with a sharp edge as it comes in. And we're not affecting the clear space. So really you have different approaches depending on the bars that you're working with and the approach that you want to take overall. The last thing to do is to animate. So let me expand this down here, open the comp. We can also filter these and just go to animated, but we haven't started animating just yet. So let's start with the translation of the mask and we'll animate the X position. So I'll go to frame 10. I'll frame the entire duration that we have here. 168. When did that happen? 160. My duration was off. I guess I hit the wrong button earlier or something. Anyway, so here we are on frame 10. I'll add a keyframe for the X position. And you can make this last however long you want it to last. If you want to visualize the timeline, not in frames but in seconds, you can simply right click at the top here and click on display time code. And now we have the time. So let's say this loading bar takes, well, approximately 5 seconds because we left 10 frames in the beginning. Then I'll right click, add a keyframe. And on this first keyframe here, we can simply move our mask GX. We can simply move the mask out. And now it's going to slide in. There we go. Now, this is a linear animation. If you want it to stutter or pause, simply add more keyframes, adjust the duration, etc. And of course, you can play with the curves of your animation. If this is meant to be a smooth animation, but with a little bit of easing, just add your smooth nodes, left click, hold, press X. I'll do the same for the bottom here. Now, of course, adjust these curves however fits the motion that you're going for. I'll exit the curves here, shift spacebar. Simple as that. Now you can apply these principles to all of these other bars. If you wanted to add a rim light to some of these, it'd be simple enough. Let's see here. If I go inside of comp 5, let's say we want to add a rim light to this here at the bottom, we can simply left click on it to select it, Control G to create a group out of it. Let's move the group down. Let's double click to go in the group. So I'll lock the mask up here so I can make sure I double click on this. So now we're inside of the group. I'll grab this over here, left click over here, make my selection. Okay, let's convert this to a layer. So I switched it to source at top, remove the stroke, give it a fill, grab this color, make it much lighter, less saturated even. I'll call this bar 5 rim light. Right click, action, raster, blur. Let's go to raster, adjust the blur however we see fit. We can grab the point selection tool and even drag this closer to the edge. So middle click to pan. And we automatically already have a little rim light for it. So go ahead and customize these however you like. There's a Ko-fi link down in the description if you'd like to support the channel. You can click on this playlist here to learn more about Friction. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.